Hello, right, we're live. We're live to Instagram down here. Hello up there to Facebook, Instagram. Hello to YouTube. Hello to Twitter, and hello to LinkedIn as well. Very short. I'm just going to do a quick intro, guys. Hi, guys. How you doing? Hello, hello. If you're listening in, chuck us in a comment, chuck us in a like. Let us know that you're there, where you are, and how you are. I'm Terry James. I am your mindset coach and digital entrepreneur. And a really, really important subject today, making a switch from being fearful and just surviving to grow and prosper so that we can have bucket loads of confidence and faith in ourselves moving forward, because 2022 is the digital movement exposed. Decentralization, the revolution, the decentralization economy is upon us. So I'm just going to go live. I've got these in my ears if you're watching live and not listening, because I am, and hello, Mr. Reed, come on. I am going live in 10 places, and I've got a couple of audio rooms on as well. So I'm just going to say hello to Clubhouse down here. Hello, Clubhouse. Terry James here. Yo, yo, yo. Digital entrepreneur and your mindset coach. Today, exposed the 2022 digitalization movement has begun. The digitalization revolution and economy is upon us, and we're going to expose what that actually means a little bit more. So we're going live. We're in Clubhouse rooms. We're on audio rooms. We are on Facebook, in groups, on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram down here going live. So, right, give you some context. Making a switch, what we need to do as creators rather than consumers, if you know what I'm talking about, then that's great. If not, then this will be interesting for you, because we've had certain revolutions and industry twists and turns as we've become more mature, as we've aged. And if we make the switch, we can go from being fearful to just surviving to thriving. We can grow and prosper together with bucket loads of confidence and faith in oneself. Today has been actually the hardest live I'm ever going to deliver, because I've actually wrote notes. It's taken me about 4 hours to write these notes. I was in a bit of a tissy earlier, and I felt like there was stuff I needed to talk about and get out. I spoke to a couple of my online mentors as well as colleagues that I work with, and it all just came flooding out. So I actually did something I didn't do. I prepared. I actually prepared, wrote down some stuff, and this is what I'm delivering to you today. So we're going to go from zero to hero. I've got the gift, so if you need the assist, then listen in. And at the end, I've got a special bonus, I suppose, or an invitation for you to join me further. So keep tuned in. And chuck the like button up or give us a comment, and it all helps with the algorithms. And we're going to talk about algorithms and how this whole digital stuff is working at the moment, and how decentralization revolution and steering away from mainstream kind of social media as well as media is going to be so important moving into 2022. It is upon us. It is happening. It is here. So we had the Industrial Revolution. We know about that. We would learn about it at school and stuff. Some of you might have actually been around when it actually all started. Sorry, I'm getting all tangled up with my wires here. So we've shifted out of the information and digital revolution age, which is basically, personally, I've grown up going through that for the internet, and now the information and the education, self-development age is absolutely huge. You may have heard of things like New World Order, One World Government, even a Great Reset. And what do these things mean? Well, essentially, it means that things are run by tech firms, pharma control, that kind of thing. They influence everything. And if we have no middle class, basically, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. That kind of thing. And me personally, I have the reason I've actually scripted and wrote some of this out and gave myself notes is because if I go down too many rabbit holes with this, there's certain reasons why we're doing decentralization and why it's an economy and a revolution in itself, because of there isn't such a thing as freedom of speech as such. We're on people's platforms. We're in their living room. We have to respect their rules. You might see things pop up when you post stuff to do with what your beliefs are. And then you thought, oh, why is that? Fact checkers or censorship or restriction or being deplatformed or even shadow banned or even restricted from certain platforms. It's not because you're not speaking fact, it's because you're not actually within the narrative of the people that own that house, that platform. So I kind of agree with that a little bit, because if we was around someone's house, I would take off my shoes at the door if that was what they did at their house, and also wouldn't offend people when you're sat at their dinner table, right? It makes sense. So remember that all of these tools and assets that we have, they are owned by someone, and it's for their gain. Okay, we're in this space where we have to adhere to certain things, and I used to play the fool. Now I play the tool master. I use the tools available to us. Hello down there, Morris. And we've got to play the game. We've got to play the game massively. So if where we're moving into is centralized and there's no classes, no middle class, basically no small businesses, no cash, where global corporations basically dictate and control everything, then globalization is by Freemasons, New World Order, Rothschilds, Rockefellers. I mean, even just saying some of those words might go against me on the algorithm. So the anti-globalization movement has begun to shift power away from Facebook, big tech, putting power back into individuals, back into you, back into me. Breaking away in this creative space is the startup, the creator, influencers, aka you. Go from zero to hero in this creator economy by moving away from media and political narratives. So how are we going to do that? Years ago, you would advertise on TV, spend hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions to be on TV advertisements, on paper, on news, on billboards. Then Google came along and changed everything within the digital age. The reach was digitalized. The data could be looked at, the insights and how you targeted people within niches began. Beforehand, it used to be cast your net out wide, and people for years like Gary V would be like, you've got to post 100 times on social media. Even Grant Cardone would be like, you can just keep doing, and you'll become an overnight success in like 5 to 10 years. Well, now it just seems like you can just go viral on certain platforms like TikTok. If you're ahead of trends, go viral, monetize it. And you've got, when I was growing up, you had billionaires where the average age is probably like 60. Now it's gone right down to 20s. You've got people that are like 18, 19, earning billions in revenue just by, flossing themselves with with a garden hose or something crazy silly. So it's about education as well as entertainment, and it's steered right away from places like the TV. You've got Netflix, you've got all these other things. So there's a massive media and political narrative. We can now use data. We can search out people. We can really get specific on how we do things. That's great for business and great for people in general. But I've got a friend who was at Simon Cowell's latest charity ball, probably about a month ago or so. And he was talking to him about the digital economy and what we're talking about here, about exponential growth and about digitalization and the decentralization. And Simon Cowell basically said, well, why he took down things like Britain's Got Talent and the X Factor was because they used to have viewership of like 25 million. So you imagine, like, with the adverts for those, the people ringing in, the phone votes, those kind of things, the money that they got from that was huge. But the last couple of years that they were on, and they did run for sort of like a decade or something, the viewership was down to like 1.5 million, which is crazy when you've got someone like Mr. Big or Mr. Beast, sorry. Mr. Beast will basically copy a popular thing off of Netflix and gets 10 million views within 2 days. So, the world's massively changed when it comes to kind of this thing you're actually probably watching on right now. So a good post, a good video on social media can get millions, can get thousands of views. So each of us has our own personal brand. We'll get followed by our friends, family, or certain things that we talk about. And you put out your vibe, you get your tribe, that kind of thing. So what can we do about it? Who's competing for you now? We're not watching. I mean, we're not even watching like EastEnders, Coronation Street, football. We're not watching it on TV. We're streaming it. We're using Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. They're all fighting with their algorithms for reach. And if there's something good, they give you more exposure. If it's something they don't like, or it's not playing along to their narrative, whatever it is, their opinion, or more importantly, whoever's funding them and what their opinions are, which is kind of fair enough, they will pull you away. So we're under control by them to a certain degree. From matter of fact checkers, aka opinion, they decide how much reach, how much following you're going to get based upon what you're doing. So that isn't really democracy, is it? But then should it be democracy when it's somebody's actual platform that they've designed by their own narrative? So But what's going to happen is decentralization. Well, there's new platforms coming up all the time. You've got Zion, Rumble, Fireside, Speakeasy, even Donald Trump launching next month, I believe, beginning of 22. I don't know if it's a platform or it's an app called Truth, and it's basically to allow freedom of speech, essentially. So can't be a bad thing, but there's more things for us to be clicking on and doing, right? So I just want to quickly say on Sunday I'm going to host a masterclass. But I'm going to be basically moving away. I'll still be on these platforms, but I'm moving away of the main social media platforms. And this is my decentralization effort, so that we can get a more freedom of speech, actually talk about the things we want to talk about, share the news that we want to talk about. I 2 weeks ago actually did a breaking news. It's like a newsjack thing of something that happened in my hometown. Oh, I think I've got a sneeze coming. Tongue on the roof of the mouth. And it works. Ding dong. There's a little trick for you. Tongue on the roof of the mouth stops you from sneezing. And also, if you get brain freeze, tongue on the roof of your mouth, it eliminates that as well. Hot tip. So, social media platforms, there are loads of them and loads of new ones popping up all the time. You know, things like Clubhouse rooms, audio rooms, they're all in competition with each other. Did anyone notice that like TikTok became really big and then it suddenly really, really blew up? Snapchat's always been around. Not as big, but it's still monetization tools for creators. And if you was on it at the start, you probably love it. Me, myself, don't really understand it. Maybe I should ask my daughter or my nephews and they'd be able to show me around it, how to use the filters, that kind of thing, how to make myself look like a butt cake or whatever it is you do on there. The tech is crazy. So if you want to get access to my masterclass and what I'm launching, then get yourself to the Personal Freedom Movement on Facebook or DM me and I will get you an invite to that. We're going to be talking. I'm actually going to cover a lot of stuff now about what I feel, what I've penned down, about where I want to go, what I believe, and I'm going to be delivering that, okay? So we can all make a full switch, and the right people will love it, and the wrong people will stay where they are, where they're comfortable, okay? And that's fine. I just want to take as many people on the journey as I possibly can. So, oh, I'm moving my notes around, guys. Oh, and I'm moving them and losing them. That's what I'm doing. But that's fine. So, what is my mission? Well, one of my mission is teaching you about your mind, body, soul, and if we can live happy, healthy, wealthy, without anxiety, depression, or societal labels that trap us in this false reality that we actually live in. So, who am I to be talking to you like this? Well, essentially, I'm an entertainer. I'm also a 3 times accredited therapist in hypnotherapy, life coaching, and NLP, neuro linguistic programming, which I love, I breathe, and this saved me. I wouldn't be here now for 2 reasons. If it wasn't for my dogs, well, actually 3 reasons. Support from certain family members, not all of them. Some of them actually attributed to the problem. And look out for Breaking Bad Love, because that is going to tell stories, true stories about me, my journey, and why I've gone down the road that I've gone, and why am I sat here now talking to you about this stuff. I'm a truth giver. Not everything in life is ugly. There are ugly truths, and there's also lies that we tell ourselves to make our existence and the lives that we live more bearable. But not everything ugly needs to be hidden. So if we learn to see the beauty in all things, no wonder would we be hiding. We wouldn't need to hide, would we? Or feel like shit ever again. And that's how I felt for a long time. I was uncomfortable in my own skin. There's certain things that I learned about as an adult, which when I learned about them, I thought to myself, oh my God, I was annoyed about The Secret, about things about mindset, about hypnotherapy, reprogramming. And these are the things that every single human being, every light energy human, because we are energy, everybody needs to know and learn about this stuff. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. That's fine. But well, I suppose the best way to put it is it might not be for you, but it is for you, because the monsters are real. Monsters? The monsters are real. The monsters out there are real. But, important but, big button, we cannot lie, so is the magic. The magic is real too. Tin. So I'm all over the place. But hey, it's live. I'm proud, whatever. So my personal mind, body, and soul movement, where we are collectively a group of healers, awake humans, energy beings, helping lost souls. We are light givers, life optimization specialists, digital marketing mentors, going on self-development journeys. And then within that self-development journey, you learn certain things about belief systems, about how you tell yourself things, about how to let go of things, how to actually step into your power. And it goes back then to spirituality and law of attraction stuff. So whether or not you label religion, all these kind of different labels for things, essentially, we're all one, we're all the same, and we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. Be kind and help people. So why would I want to even step into this space a few years ago? Well, one, to save my own skin and to thrive rather than survive. I wanted to, and I did actually develop certain skills, learning about water, breathing, thinking. So why? Well, it helps those that are struggling, dealing with anxiety and depression, so that nobody will feel helpless, unworthy, or alone like I did for most of my life. And that's what drives me. And if I can do that, get myself out of the paradigm of this false illusion of freedom within, employment, for instance. Employment's very much needed. People need to earn and what have you. But if we learn about wealth creation, you'll see things completely differently. I do not like being in a society where I feel imprisoned with a job title. So what do we essentially learn about? What is, if you follow me on my journey, if we go down, going into other channels of actually communicating with each other and actually getting to know each other better and grow. So there's things happening again. YouTube, there's people that always go on YouTube and they try and put links to other things on mine, which actually I'll take that as a thank you very much. Take it as a compliment. I'm not sure whether I'll get many views on it, but if they're trying to throw their link to whatever crypto, fair play. Thank you very much. But you did just get blocked. So one thing that I learned about, which is super, super important, is the most important thing in our lives is relationships. And number one relationship that you really need to nurture in your life, and it's not my opinion, it's just a given, is the relationship with yourself. Letting go of negative thoughts, coping with trauma, so that you can build confidence and self-esteem. How to get fit, positive, and healthy. Super, super important, because there's so many miserable bastards. And sometimes people are being positive and other people don't like that. That's crazy. So we have to have light bringers, light givers, storytellers. So that starts with a healthy mindset. It starts with knowledge, understanding, connection to ourselves, awareness, understanding, of course, and expanding and opening your mind up to new things and your eyes to what's possible. Opening your heart, listening, not thinking all the time, but learning. Really, really important. And anybody that's known me for a long time will put their hand up and say, yeah, Terry or Brettsy, or whatever you know me as, will turn around and say, yeah, we've seen a change in you. There's still the old bits of me. There's still bits when I get angry. There's things that trigger me, and that's fine. But I'm gonna know that I should be aware that when there's unwanted feelings, it's time for healing. So the communication with self, changing of the perspective of the truth of what's actually possible for ourselves or you in our lives. Hello down there who was waving at me down on Instagram. Thank you very much. I am today delivering an Expose 2022 and what's happening in the world, what's happening with this decentralization movement, this new economy that's happening for creators and for people that basically want to share education, knowledge, or entertainment, because it's moved away from the normal streams that when we grew up. I mean, like my parents, for instance, they probably wouldn't have been that much on telly when they were growing up. And then it slowly moved and evolved. And then we've been conditioned and programmed to basically do our jobs, come home, have dinner, have babies, get in debt. Societally wise, it's screwed. Screwed, I tell you. Screwed. We're all doomed, Captain. But only if you think so. Whether you think so or you think not, then you're probably right. So by changing our perspective, by knowing the truths that are out there, our own truths, and dealing with the stuff that actually holds us back, we get to see things differently. So getting down and dirty with the lies, the untruth that we've buried inside for our own protection, we have to deal with that shit. Otherwise, it will deal you. Forgiving the unforgivable, seeing what doesn't want to be seen, and feeling what your inner child desperately needs. And that's the stuff with triggers and darkness and shadows and anyone that's into the spirit, deep spiritual work. When you get triggered or someone pisses you off for some reason, there's two ways. really successful people will always see the up and down side of everything. I'm getting better at dealing with like friends, family, when they say things, trigger things. But then, then I've done a lot of years of work as a therapist, and a lot of it's psychotherapy, which is talk therapy essentially. And a lot of it is just the awareness of language and how we can program ourselves with the stories or the way in which we speak to ourselves. So that's why the relationship is so important and desperately needs healing when it comes to like your inner child, things like that. Because you might have grown up being told you're useless, or basically you'd say, oh, we love unconditionally, but everyone's a victim of conditional love, because that's why when you did well, you got rewarded, and when you didn't, you were punished. That's what it is. Look at footballers, for instance. They score an own goal one week. The geezers are see you next Tuesday and being screamed at, and obscenities and things that people could get arrested for, and getting trolled on Twitter and getting abused. And then they have to actually build up a certain amount of like mental resilience to deal with that stuff. But then the next week they go and score a hat trick, and it's like, oh, it's forgiven. We love him. So there is such a thing as unconditional love, but there shouldn't be, because if you love yourself unconditionally, then it doesn't matter. It's like going out into the storm of life with a big wax jacket on, and you're waterproof from it. So letting go of what you can't control is super important. And if any of you have never heard of the Serenity Prayer, look it up. I'm not going to say it, but you look it up. That's your homework. Look up the Serenity Prayer, write it down, read it a couple of times daily, and remind yourself of what you can control, what you can't. Having the wisdom, know the difference. That's some of it, but it's super. It's a game changer. So why would you follow? Why would you follow me onto these new platforms and where I'm going to go? So that, one, I can get more viewers, help more people, speak more freely, and actually connect with people much better in a more dynamic way. Well, you get tips, tricks, motivation, education, so that you can create your own future-proof reality, whether that's in your mind, your body, or within wealth creation. But you can do it right now. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're absolutely right. But it's completely up to you to make the change. So start living your life on your terms, in the vision, your vision, what you believe. I believe we're infinite energy beings with infinite capabilities, possibilities, and opportunities. So if you're about to go into in a couple of days' time going, oh, new year, new you, new me, and you've got 30 days to change your life, well, you really need accountability, community, and implementation. Otherwise, you could go 3-4 days in and you're okay, I'll do it next month, or I'll stop smoking, or I'll stop drinking. But what you really should be looking at doing, despite doing that stuff, creating new habits, and and a lot of that starts with your mindset, because even if you want to create anything to be wealthy and healthy and happy in your life, it's going to start in there as a thought. Your mind's always listening and acting out what you tell it, looking for evidence. So if you think you're fucking stupid, you're going to see evidence that you are. And this is where hypnotherapy, reprogramming, relaxation, trance, making sure you're sleeping well, getting good hydration, breathing properly, so that can stop, alleviate upper lung breathing, which is like anxiety, along with your thoughts, which will create these things. So you really have a responsibility to learn some of this stuff, and also to pass it on as well to the next generation, because otherwise it's going to be the same old hamster wheel going round, or complying with certain narratives. And so people are controlled and don't feel good and have to this and have to be that and have to worry about what everyone else is saying and don't want to upset any other people, which is all bullshit, all been programmed into us. Because if you're just yourself, then nothing matters, because everyone else is taken. So looking at the fact you've got this real estate on all of these platforms, and you can actually go out and monetize these now. Never used to be this way. If someone like watches a video and you get enough people watching that video and following you, all of a sudden Facebook will say, oh, monetization tools. They'll start putting adverts up, like YouTube used to be the only one years ago that did this. But now you'll notice on certain people's accounts, influencers, they get like a little tick. There'll be adverts pop up, and they will be getting money for that. Essentially, there's stars, there's badges, there's these rewards, gifts that you can give people on TikTok and all these other platforms. So it's a massive creator space. So I applaud you if you've got something that you want to say, if there's something you want to do, if you've got a product or service, get with the program and get it out there. And there's certain ways you can do it, which means that you can create freedom in your life, time freedom, and all these other wonderful things, financial freedom of choice. And that's the ultimate freedom, right? Because then you don't have to, live by anybody else's narrative. You can put out your vibe and attract your tribe, create your own legacy. I mean, legacy is one of the most important things. We've all been kind of trained that, oh, we've got to, go to school, stand in line, do this, go get a job, have babies, get married, have a mortgage, die early, get the pension, 40% of what you didn't afford in the first place, which is all, that's a big, in my opinion, that's one of the biggest scams at all. The pyramid of life really is not going to save your soul. You might want to start the new year and say, I want to drop 10 pounds. I'm going to lose 3 kilos. I'll build mental strength and confidence. But it all starts with your thinking. And if you can be light and playful energetically, it's really, really going to help move you forward. And someone like myself can help in that way. There are lots of people in this self-education or self-development space trying to help people. I'm helping people so they can be more positive, be the master at identifying and transcending negativity, getting real clarity around things. What's important to you? What do you want to do? How are you going to do it? What do you want to be known for? Truth, fun, strength, bravery, integrity, generosity, love, positivity, healing, being wise, being connected to yourself, or all of the above. It's completely up to you. What do you want to do? I'm a big one for the protection and care of others. I was a publican for many years, and I speak to people about when I was a kid growing up, and I was an angry, confused child, and I'd play the fool. I'd play the fool, and a lot of that was a protection. But I've always been a protector and a carer of others, and so that says a lot, really, about like my soul and my mission and purpose in life. So it's nice sometimes to meet up with old people that I've known for many, many years, and we talk about old things and this kind of stuff, and then they might say, "Oh yeah," and we remember that birthday party and things like that. And I remember a lot of the emotions and stuff that I went through as a child and growing up as a young adult as well. And I'm going to actually come out about a lot of that stuff in the Breaking Bad Love series. Some of that's going to be raw, personal stories and some real stuff in there. So if you're feeling like something doesn't quite add up, if something stinks, then give us a follow, because we're going to go deeper and on different platforms. And by exposing like this creator economy that we're in, and by actually giving ourselves more freedom that we deserve, we're actually going to open up a lot of avenues and doors. So as mentioned, I used to play the fool for protection so that I didn't get too close to people, or they wouldn't see how deep and sensitive. So I'd be angry. My ego would come in for my own safety net. I didn't feel that worthy. I felt too much. That was half of the thing, being empath and what have you. But I was playing a role. I was maybe too sensitive. I certainly wasn't connected. I didn't understand certain things. So who's awake? Who's awake? And we're looking at decentralization movement, and it has begun. People are moving to different platforms or freedom of speech to find more people like minds, so that they can actually see the news they want to see. Because if you're just watching like the old ways, there's only one narrative, one way, and it's all run by the same people. And the internet has given us a little bit of leeway when it comes to actually new platforms and new ways of connecting with people. So there's 7 billion people on the planet, and 4.5 billion of them are actually like buying and consuming content on the internet. There's still a fair few people missing, isn't there? But within new platforms, actually now TikTok is one of the biggest platforms on the planet. And I scroll on it sometimes because I want to see what people are doing and what's working. And it amazes me that you can see something's had like 15 billion views. And I'm like, what? Do you just imagine the kind of monetization someone's getting for an advert between that? It's crazy. So who am I out here to attract? And if you're watching this and your eyes are open, that's great. We're talking essentially the people that I've been kind of rubbing shoulders with the last few years, mainly coaches, therapists, healers, creators, parents, singles, the accused, the abused, because we've all been victims in our lives. We can play the victim, but we are victims. And we've been conditioned and programmed by victims as well, with our mindset, with our own self-awareness, not feeling good enough. So the way we set ourselves free is really by life optimization, by learning about new things and opening our eyes, our hearts and our minds about how our brains work, how our bodies work, human factors, behavior. We can set ourselves free. We can choose. We have a lot more autonomy to choose what we want. And how with relaxation, movement, self-connection, awareness, self-development, then these are the ways to really live your best life and to take other people on that journey with you. So fuck waiting around. There's certain things I'm doing now that other people would be like, what are you doing that for? What are you doing that for? But I know in a month, 6 months, a year, then that'll work out well for me. And I trust the right people that I'm actually hanging around with. Hello down there. Hello on Instagram, giving you a wave. So just remember, you are the light and everything's coming from you. So what's the worst could happen? You know, learning some new stuff, changing to let go of a few things that don't serve you, including people, distancing yourself from people that really bring you down. What's the worst could happen? Well, you might just be happier for it, right? We all have the capacity within us to live extraordinary lives. So don't ever, ever believe that you're just ordinary. It was actually one of a few years ago when I was doing a lot of the coaching and mentoring. It was one of our kind of mantras was mission statements was we give ordinary people extraordinary tools to create freedom for themselves and others. But we are all extraordinary. We are all as one, and we are, the same things that we all suffer with is also what make us very different from one another. But we do need to stick together. We do need to have extraordinary experiences and to reach out and help one another. I think that the meaning of life for me is be kind and help each other. That starts with yourself, doesn't it, really? Because hurt people. That's a given. They don't make statues of critics, but they do give you honest feedback. So I've changed the way in which, I actually welcome haters and people that want to kind of either critique me or challenge me now, because it either means that I've got rid of someone that I'm never going to work with or help or be friends with. And that's great, because then that leaves a lot more energy to go towards the right people that are going to love me, like me, and want to follow. But don't let fear stop you. Don't let fear stop you of what people think. Remember, if they don't have what you want, I know I used to grow up asking people for advice that weren't the right people that had those things. You'd ask bring up old Uncle Bob, good old Uncle Bob telling you about relationship advice or financial advice. And, they've fucking got divorced or, been cheating on girlfriends or even been down the road of liquidization and things like that, and then they're telling you what you should do with your money. And we listen to these people, right? Because they're our family and that's what we do, listen to our friends. But no, that's not the right way. Not the right way at all. We should be seeking knowledge from people that have what we want. And there's a plethora of free information out there, and free info is worth every bloody penny, guys. Every single penny it's worth. But when you invest, it's best. When you pay attention. So, if you went out and bought a £20 book, you bet your bottom dollar that you would read it and take it in. 20 quid, $20 is a lot of money for a book. But what that might give you, if it's something like Think and Grow Rich or Rich Dad, Poor Dad. By the way, I've got a library of over 400 ebooks, and people within my circles, if you want to come along to the Personal Freedom Movement on Facebook, that is where I'm going to be dropping the first invitations to my personal tribe to come over to these new platforms that I'm setting up, so we can decentralize and we can have open discussions, open chats about certain things. I'm actually in the throes as well. I was supposed to launch an app 6 months ago. I've had had some problems and arguments with the developers, and maybe that will go live, and that'll be something that I'll allow other people to actually promote themselves on as well. So you've got one life, one chance. I'm going to give you a few of the things when I've been the quotes and mottos that I've been talking to people recently. I'm just going to throw some at you. If there's any that you like in particular, write it in the comments for me. Give us a load of likes. And of course, if you're catching this on a replay, then put a hashtag replay in for me. And hello down there. We're still on Club Rooms. We're about 40 minutes or so in. Oh no, 35. That's cool. Hello down there, Instagram. There's a few of you watching. And thank you for those that are still on Facebook, on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. You've got one life, one chance, guys. We grow as we go, so keep on moving. If you've too many feelings, it's time for your healing. The life you dream about and born to live is just outside of your comfort zone. So get uncomfortable, and get uncomfortable often. I can't even see that. Get out of your head or you're dead. And that'll happen already. because we've been conditioned to be overthinkers and problem solvers. We're looking for problems to solve all the time. We were born to thrive, not just survive. And how do we climb mountains? One step at a time, with training, patience, preparation, and belief. So there's us, me, you, mottos for all of us to live by, because my mission to help as many people as I can wake up to the false illusion of freedom that we have right now, removing the hoodwinkers from our lives, setting ourselves free with clarity, confidence, self-love, and development, and sharing what we know and learning about digital economies, assets, so you can leverage your time, money, and your personal brand, your passions, your purpose to live the best life for you now. And when we can make the switch from being, making that switch, we're going to be fearful. We're going to be, not just be surviving. We'll be growing, prosperity in our lives, buckets full of confidence. And this is really, really important, to have faith in ourselves that we can do this. I've spent the last 10 weeks going on a fitness challenge and a journey, which I failed miserably. But I don't go into what I failed. I just kept going forward and picking up the bits that, I knew that I was doing well, like losing a bit of weight, gaining a bit of muscle, getting a six-pack, building different brands, seeking new mentorship, leveling up in my own spirituality, my understanding of things, letting go of, actually, this was the biggest thing in the last 10 weeks. And then over the weekend will be when I'll do the finale of that. So again, if you want to get first dibs on that information and the progress made and what I've actually been doing, Facebook, the Personal Freedom Movement. You can actually just do personalfreedom.terrylifestyle.com. That will take you straight to the group as well. I don't even think I ask you any questions. I think I just let you straight in there. And you'll see some content which not anywhere else, some offers for people to ask me questions. You can actually get on Clubhouse. Clubhouse, you'll find it as Breaking Bad Love with Terry James. And there's actually got a club in there called Tell Bretsy. And that's a real good opportunity for people to ask me questions, for me to use my foresight and a bit of channeling and the information that I know and the great work that I've done with people, either from hypnotherapy or for life coaching and the frameworks used within NLP. And I will answer your questions. We'll talk about things. It's a bit of an open forum, so that's a great way to connect with me as well. So 10 weeks of going down that rabbit hole spiritually, growing, letting go of certain things, dealing with some of the darkest things that I've ever have happened, and understanding the need for surrounding it with love, olive branching out to people, forgiveness. So sometimes it's a case of forgiving yourself as well. You hold on to regret and guilt, and these are actually useless emotions to have. A lot of the time, in my experience and working with people for the last few years, most emotions or traumas and that kind of painful emotions that we hold on to kind of all come back to anger, sadness, or fear. And we can identify that with breath work and deep abdominal breath work, because we actually bury trauma deep in our bellies at a cellular level. But I'm not going to get too much into that because we're going to wind up this call. So this call has been about letting you know about decentralization, about how different media platforms are opening up because they're promoting more freedom of speech, less censorship. There's also the creator economy, which is being created from this as well. So people that are of influence, people that are popular or getting a lot of reach and following, are actually having their videos kind of put adverts in, and you can give them creator coins, and you might have seen this on kind of certain groups of big, like, influential figures. TikTok, certainly. They've been doing these like challenges recently where you can go live against other people and other people can come on. They can give you gifts. I think a lot of it's quite smutty. A lot of it's kind of like pretty girls sitting there not doing anything, just kind of like tapping the bloody screen and that kind of crap. But in general, the reason for and the need for this decentralization is because of certain narratives and people, influential figures, corporations running the show, and by other people basically getting more viewership takes away the need for people watching telly, people buying films and that, and it's available to you. Look at Amazon Prime, awesome service. Netflix, awesome service. I actually was on a seminar live with, I forget his surname, but his first name was Mark, one of the founders of Netflix. And he was talking about how they basically started that subscription service, how they basically went about bettering their service for the consumer and actually lowering their prices so that they could create a better experience for people. And it's actually the biggest kind of like platform in the world like that. Of course, then we've got our TikToks and our Instagrams and our Twitters, Facebooks, and all that kind of thing. But there's a lot of new stuff coming out there, and the new stuff is where the decentralization comes in for the creator economy. So if you've got a message, a service, a product, or if you just want to get out there and give value to people, it is all about pivoting, changing, but go within, understand yourself. Louise Hayes, I love what she always says. It always pops into my head. Basically, love yourself with nourishing food and beverages. Go within, because if happiness, basically everything you need is within you. So happiness is within you. And if you don't go within, we often go without. Your mind is always listening and taking orders from you. So go about reprogramming yourself, your faulty beliefs, get help, get a coach, get a therapist if you need to. They'll help you steer past any blockages, shine the light in the dark corners, which you're protecting yourself by not being able to see. Changing your perspective about what's possible in your life for you and other people around you. And be aware of the language that we use in the self-fulfilling prophecies, the way we speak to ourselves and the way we speak to other people, because we inherently inherit curses and limiting beliefs, but we also throw these out as well. You say them to yourself, but also you say it to other people. And the biggest people that hold you back in your life, the biggest critiques, are usually the people that you're deeming to be the closest to you: family, friends, spouses, brothers, sisters. But actually, it's coming from a place of love, and for every intention comes from a positive place, from the person that's doing it or giving it out. It's from a perspective. So real successful people get really good at seeing the upside and the downside in all situations. And on that note, I'm going to let you go. So if you're watching it, hashtag replay, anything you like in particular, chuck in there for me. Say that you've been watching, give us some love, chuck us some hearts. Even give it a share. If there's people that you know would like this information, then remember, Sunday night, I'm going to be in the Personal Freedom Movement, and this is going to be talking about the new platforms that I'm launching. This is going to be an invitation for people to join. It's going to be an opportunity for people to learn some new stuff about how they can either level themselves up in their own way for a digital economy, mindset, how to use social media marketing to work for you, digital marketing essentially. And it's free for the asking. So make sure you reach out or get involved, and you'll see me on another one of these. So take good care of yourselves. If you want to go from zero to hero, just make the decision. Everything starts with a thought, and your mind is always listening and creating what you tell it. So go within, or you might go without. And remember, if something triggers you and you've got unwanted feelings, it's time for your healing. Cool. So I'm going to say goodbye on the live on Instagram. That's you. We're going to say goodbye to Clubhouse down here. Thank you very much. Don't forget to share and to talk to other people about stuff that means deep and meaningful to you. And if you see that their eyes have gone awash and gone somewhere else, then you're talking to the wrong person. It's all about vibration and energy. So essentially, if someone you can't communicate with, it just means that they're on a different radio station to you. That's fine. They're dialed into a different dial. That's fine. So love you, Clubhouse. Speak to you later. And that's that one done. Right. And of course, my old faithfuls here. Hi, guys. So YouTube, goodbye. Twitter, goodbye. LinkedIn, goodbye. And the Personal Freedom Movement, the Start Your Own Thriving Business in 2021. That's an old group, so I might even take that down and start a new one. But no, why would I do that? I'm starting new channels. So actually, we'll just incorporate it into that. The Personal Freedom Movement, I'm live in there as well. So 176 of you in there. Thank you very much. Terry James, the personal page. And of course, Terry James, the business stroke fan page, which you can access by at Bretsi77, BRETSI 77. If you want to get onto Instagram, it's at Terry James Lifestyle. And you can follow me on my personal page. However, I can't have any more friends on there, but that's just at Bretsi, BRETSI, or Terry James. You'll see a lovely picture of me with my shades on when I was flying a plane. So, love you loads. Be good to yourselves and one another. Remember, be kind to yourself first and help people. See you later, guys. Take care.